Hi, I'm Gary Zerner from AgSolutions, and I was out this afternoon in this oats paddock and I thought a great opportunity to have a little catch up and talk about how we maximise utilisation, daily weight gain and ultimately your profit when you're grazing these forages. There's three key factors I talk about. One is if you've got your animals, and I'm talking rumen nutrition, so sheep and cattle. Say for example, your animals were coming off that rough dry feed in the background, coming onto this lush green forage, and this applies to lush green pastures or any of these winter cereals and even things like the brassicas, anytime your stock are scouring. You do have a change of rumen bacteria happening, and that's simply a time factor where it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks for these rumen bacteria to change and adapt to this new source of feed. The new source of feed is basically high moisture, low fibre and high sugars. So these forages can be as low as say 15% dry matter. So what that means is in 100 kilos of this stuff, you may only have 15 kilos of dry matter and 85 litres of water. When we talk about dry matter intake, this becomes really important. So we've spoken about the rumen bacteria changing. Secondly, it's about fibre. So make sure you've got a supply of fibre out there in the paddock. Now that may come in the form of just some rough dry grass in the perimeter of the paddock, in which we have here, or it might be that you're having to put out some old hay or roughage or straw or whatever you can get your hands on. Now I know that's not always available to you, and I know it may sound like a hassle, but believe it or not, the provision of fibre and roughage in the paddock when you're grazing these sorts of pastures and forages is going to make you money. So any source of roughage or fibre that slows the rate of pass of this green feed down will increase your daily weight gains. Daily weight gains, you'll hear me harp on a lot, but is such a key driver of profit. So if you can increase your daily weight gains by 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5 of a kilo per head per day, that's a massive profit driver for you. The third factor is what's the most limiting nutrient. And on these lush green feeds and forages, it's magnesium. Now, the magnesium deficiency is solely linked to the rapid rate of pass of this green feed through the rumen. People say to me, what about my level of soil magnesium? So if you're on light soils that are naturally low in magnesium, that can increase the deficiency of magnesium, yes. But you can be on heavy black soils that are naturally high in magnesium and still have this issue. And it's because the issue we're talking about on magnesium on these lush green feeds is because it's mainly linked to the rate of pass of the green feed traveling too fast through the animal. All the activity around magnesium happens in the rumen. So quite simply, the animal can't extract enough magnesium out of this forage before it rapidly passes through the animal. So that's where we use a production supplement in the form of Megamin Extra Magnesium. Now we also do the extra magnesium in a sweet version because this is a production supplement and magnesium is a very bitter mineral. So we want to get that 10 to 15 grams of magnesium down their throat in order to have this ability to assist in the prevention of both grass tetany. And 9 times out of 10, you may not see grass tetany or you may not see animals dying, but the magnesium response and production response we're talking about today is simply increasing the daily weight gain with a magnesium supplement when you're grazing these forages. I'm involved in some pasture trial works down in New South Wales at the moment, and some other key things we talk about is the pull test, trying these new forages and pastures, making sure they're ready to graze and not going to be pulled out of the ground. And the other factor is so important is about grazing your pastures and forages to the optimal height. If we don't graze them too short, our speed and rate of recovery after grazing is a lot quicker. We'll get more grazings and ultimately we'll get more production and more feed off that paddock. So don't graze your forages and your new pastures too short, otherwise they'll take too long to come back for that next grazing. That's about all for me today. Just a little bit of a refresher on magnesium. It's a message we talk and harp on about every year because we view this sort of forage as a paddock full of ice cream. What more could my animals want? Quite simply, magnesium's deficient, they need a source of fibre, and that's where these sorts of production supplements come in. The trial data shows up to 31% increased daily weight gains. That's certainly better than bank interest at the moment. So you've gone to the investment, I use the word investment, you've invested in growing these forages or new pastures, you've got to invest a few cents, maybe 10, 12, 15 cents a day, and say 1/10 of that for sheep, to use a production supplement like the Megamin Extra Magnesium to increase the utilisation and address that magnesium deficiency that just naturally happens when they're grazing this stuff, and ultimately increase your daily weight gain. Certainly worth doing. I will say 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through the season, these forages such as oats, where magnesium will probably come to a point where it's no longer going to be your most limiting nutrient. So the benefit from magnesium supplementation, when these sort of oats start to turn a straw colour, is going to run out. And that's because the most limiting factor will likely be protein at that stage. But at the start of grazing, early into the season, 3/4 of the way through the season, you've got plenty of protein in this feed, and you've just got low fibre, high moisture, high sugars. So the magnesium gives you a response. But as I said, after a while, when these start to mature, the plant will actually get more effective chewable fibre in the plant, where you'll see that rapid rate of pass decline, and that's where magnesium no longer becomes your most limiting nutrient. So it's time to change. We always talk about right product for the right time. I hope that's been help to you. I'm Gary Zerner from AgSolutions. We've got plenty of people in our team in soil and livestock nutrition to talk to you about any of these sorts of things. So if you'd like to know more, don't hesitate to give us a call on 1800 81 5757 or visit our website at agsolutions.com.au. I'm Gary Zerner. That's all from us. Bye for now.